Matt Viser is in Washington. He's the Deputy Washington Bureau Chief of the Boston Globe. Matt, I want to start with the president's trip to Wisconsin on Tuesday, signing an executive order billed as Buy American, Hire American, aimed at curbing companies from bringing in foreign workers. This follows a series of recent reversals on economic policies. What's the political calculation here in terms of returning to the campaign promise of America First, as well as doing it outside of Washington?
I think he's trying to return to the campaign trail model and going back to a state that he won over Hillary Clinton, a blue-collar state. And as you mentioned, he's had several reversals over the past week or two on a variety of economic issues that his base cares about. And so this was an effort to get back and talk about American jobs, signing an executive order targeting H-1B visas for the high-skilled workers that come from overseas to work in America, and he's trying to crack down on that a little bit and get back to American jobs.
This order targets the H-1B visa program, which the White House says undercuts American workers by bringing in cheaper foreign workers, driving down wages. How is the administration hoping this will resonate with the president's base?
I think he's trying to forecast this overarching message that drove his campaign, which is that he cares about American jobs and not foreign jobs. There is a note of hypocrisy here where Trump himself has used overseas manufacturing for some of his ties and products, and he has foreign workers at Mar-a-Lago. But he's trying to get back with this message that does resonate pretty well with his base of American jobs and resurrecting some manufacturing in the United States.
I want to ask you, Matt, about another one of the president's campaign promises, tax reform. His own refusal to release his tax returns has caused Democrats to pledge they won't cooperate until they know how it might benefit the president and his family. Is there a sense that this will continue to be a central hurdle for reform? What's the way forward here?
I think it will be as they try and do tax reform. It brings up questions over and over about President Trump and his own taxes, particularly this week as most Americans are filing their own taxes, and President Trump foregoing past practice of his predecessors is not releasing his taxes at this time. You'll notice even Senator Tom Cotton in Arkansas, a Republican, was sort of chastised at a town hall meeting the other day as he tried to defend President Trump's not releasing of his taxes. So I think it will be a persistent issue as Republicans try and forge a path forward on tax reform.
Matt, another looming issue, the government potentially shuts down in 10 days. In terms of the budget and the weight a group like the House Freedom Caucus carries, what are the top issues Republicans will be looking to force the president into accepting, or will he have to work with Democrats?
There's a couple of issues. Some of them, for example, are the border wall, and will there be funding included for that, which was one of President Trump's top priorities on the campaign trail. And there are other issues as well related to health care, whether, how much of a line in the sand the Freedom Caucus is going to stick on some of those issues. Can President Trump bring along any Democrats? That seems doubtful given the current climate. But we're back in one of those scenarios probably next week that we found ourselves in so much over the past couple of years of just continuing to fund the government at its current levels.
Well, let me ask you, Matt, about North Korea. While in Wisconsin, the president gave an interview to a local station in Milwaukee. Let's listen to a little bit of that.
Look, you always have to be concerned. You don't know exactly who you're dealing with. I had a great meeting with the president of China, and that meeting tells me a lot, and you've seen a lot of things happen. They have a pretty good power, not a great power perhaps, but a pretty good power over North Korea. We're going to see what happens. It's a very tricky situation.
Has the administration backed themselves into a corner here in terms of following through with some kind of military action?
The rhetoric was certainly ratcheted up quite a bit. Vice President Mike Pence in the region still, but the other day in South Korea, talking about sort of moving away from this patience, strategic patience. So I think the administration has ratcheted up at least the rhetoric, and has been moving some of the military in that area. So it's still unpredictable. Two different leaders, one in the United States and one in North Korea, known for their unpredictability, and it's sort of unclear where this heads, with China sort of trying to exert some pressure over North Korea, but the issue still has not been resolved at all.
Finally, Matt, I want to ask you about Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, a leading voice of the party. While on her book tour, Warren's commented that Senator Mitch McConnell is still angry about her reading the Coretta Scott King letter and has not spoken to her. As Democrats gain momentum, what's your sense of the level of resistance facing the party at this point?
It's significant, and there's some irony in the fact that a couple of years ago it was Mitch McConnell who talked about making President Obama a one-term president. Democrats are now in the similar position of trying to make President Trump a one-term president, and there's a lot of resistance. The party's being pulled to the left. Dianne Feinstein yesterday was booed and jeered at one of her town hall meetings for not challenging the president even more. So I think that there is a lot of resistance from the Democratic Party. And Mitch McConnell, as Elizabeth Warren told one of my colleagues, Vicki McGrain, that even in the hallways of the Senate, when she tries to say hello, he ignores her. So I think that there is a lot of animosity, particularly in the Senate, which has in the past prided itself on its congeniality among members. So I think there is a lot of resistance at this point.
All right, Matt Viser, thanks very much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.